let's see. What would be? Let's see. I'm trying to think of questions now. Do you have anything for me? Maybe like any questions you want to ask?
I guess also how you became a part of your Insomania game. I always wondered about that.
Oh, well, I've never been asked that. Well, then again, my last three guests, they knew about this, but alright, I might as well fill you in on it. I believe I went over this on part 3 of my conversation with Pika Power. Okay, what happened was I was just removed from the former foreign exchangers. It broke up largely because of two people, which I won't get into because we already talked about it in part 2 of my conversation with Pika, but after that I kind of felt very, very bad because I felt so guilty because I did everything I could to keep the former group together, but I just didn't want to go through that again, and it was only through my good friend Truhu, who else? Pika, as well as Conisboard. They all convinced me that they convinced me they showed me their vision and of how it was going to work, and I was convinced, and I joined the group. But if you're wondering how to get in, if that's what you're wondering.
Oh, well, I was just asking, like, your side of the story, like, how you personally got in. Because I always wondered, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool that they're part of, like, a little knit clique. It reminded me, honestly, of my AMV days, because when I joined my studios, back in my AMV days, I actually had a tryout.
Oh, wow.
And I was actually best friends with the leader at the time, and she fairly judged everyone, and I got in. So yeah, you have to try out certain studios. You have to try out, and they look at your videos and things like that. But yeah, I was just wondering, and also to reminisce.
Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. Really good. And I really mean it. It kind of reminds me of our leader, TehJew22. He's the one that came up with the channel, and that's, you know, I was gonna say something, but I'm gonna stop myself there. But yeah, that's how I joined the group, and I do mention you fairly often in some of my videos for the group. Believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think it was episode 3, I think, where I got a hold of what is it, the sword ability for Kirby,
Mm-hmm.
where he dresses up as Link, and I thought, oh my god, she's gonna, yeah. Which
I know.
Which then brings me to my next question. I know the story, but I don't know if anybody else knows the story, and that is, how did you become, or rather, how did you become a fan of the Legend of Zelda series, as well as more particularly in Link?
I remember going back to my talk of when I would go to Mexico to visit my family. My cousin at the time, how old was I? I was 8 years old or 9 years old, and he was like 5 or 4. I think he's 5 at the time. He had a Nintendo 64, and he had the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and I saw him play it, and I was like, wow, that game looks amazing. And I remember when I heard Kokiri Forest theme, it just automatically was magic. It really was. Like, I was so drawn into the music and the colors and the vibrant characters. I was like, what is this game? I have to get a hold of this game. And I remember I bugged my mom every single day. I want a Nintendo 64, because at the time I didn't have a Nintendo 64. My cousin had it. And every year for Christmas when we go to Mexico, he brought it. And every year I would play it. And then I remember my brother's friend would bring his games, and we would play GoldenEye and and Yoshi's Story and Ocarina of Time, and we actually just borrowed games from other people. Eventually, my mom did buy us a Nintendo 64 because I was a little good girl, making good grades at school and things like that. And I would borrow games. My dad actually took me to Blockbuster like once a week to get video games, and I always rented Ocarina of Time. But anyways, when I was playing more Ocarina of Time, I was like, this seems familiar. And I remember I had actually played A Link to the Past before, and I've actually played Link's Awakening, but I was so young at the time I didn't remember. I just remember Ocarina of Time drawing me in, so... And I remember I would fight Ganondorf. I was fighting Ganondorf. I was a kid. I was like 11 years old. And all the kids, all the cousins around me during Christmas, they were like, "Yeah, you beat that Ganondorf. You stab him in the face." I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna kick Ganondorf's butt." But anyways, yeah, I love that game so much. Such nostalgia.
Yes, my God, you just opened up a new, what is it? You opened up a can of worms is what you did. Well, not in a bad way, though. Not in a bad way. The thing is, you mentioned, Blockbuster. I'll just tell you a story about that. And that is, I first got a Nintendo 64, I think it was late 1996 or early to 1997, somewhere around there. And... oh my God! Like, I remember playing Super Mario 64, and everybody knows how great that game was. It's a classic.
That game was revolutionary, honestly.
Yeah, because without that, you wouldn't even have Ocarina of Time. You just would not have that. Excuse me. But I really did look forward to going to Blockbuster. It was the thing to do back in those days, especially in the 90s. But that was until, Netflix came in, and then it just kind of ruined it.
It really did. Blockbuster was such a big part of my childhood. I remember going through the aisles and looking behind the box cases they had. And I remember, we always just went down the Nintendo 64 aisle. And I remember when my brother's friends let us borrow a PS1, or the original PS. And they were talking about Final Fantasy. I'm like, Final Fantasy? What's this? And then I remember looking at a case for Final Fantasy VIII. And it had two really hot guys and a beautiful girl. I was like, what is this game? I have to play it. And then my brother's like, we're not going to rent it because it's 4 discs long. I'm like, 4 discs? Oh my God, it's long. But it's the memories of Blockbuster. And then I would, get my popcorn, and my dad would buy me candy. And it was like a freaking trip to Disney World for me.
Yeah, it was. It was for me too. I mean... sure, I didn't pig out on the candy, but it was awesome. And in fact, I believe I first rented Shrek, the first one, when it came out. Those were good times. Those were good times, and it's memories like that that just make me feel really old. Well, not really, but it just makes me feel like I was a kid again, and it just... so many memories, and yet so little time to talk about it, sadly. I mean, not that there's really a time limit. It's just, you asked me earlier how long it would be. I did say that it was going to be as long as you wanted it to be, but nuts to that. Next question is, I noticed that your channel icon says Fangirl, and it has a picture of Link. Although it kind of makes him look like a girl, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know he's a guy, so that's all I know. But seriously, how did you become a fangirl of Link?
Oh my gosh, I think it has to be whenever, in Ocarina of Time, you just play as him as a kid. I'm like, oh, he's a really cool kid, yeah. Whenever Rauru says, "Don't be afraid, but look at yourself," and then it like zooms in, and I'm like, oh my God, what happened to him? He went through puberty, and then Navi's all like, you've grown up. I was like, oh wow, he goes into an adult. And then when I heard his voice, I was like, oh my God, that's like a deep voice. And then when he's all running around Epona, I don't know. I just read more about him and magazines. My brother had a Nintendo. Was it Nintendo Power?
Yes, it
magazine?
was.
Yes.
It sucks that they even took that out. Like, why the hell would you take that out? I mean, that was really good.
Yes, I know. I'm just like we got those magazines because my brother paid for them, and I would read them. And I remember Link was on the front cover of one of them. I was like, "Oh my god, this is the dude from the game!" And I started reading more, playing more games. Actually, Ocarina of Time. Then I played Majora's Mask. I skipped over Wind Waker. I skipped over Twilight Princess, and I went to Skyward Sword. So I skipped 2 games. Then I went back and played Twilight Princess, and then I went back and I just finished Wind Waker this year, actually, which I love. I was like, I love Wind Waker.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm playing the Minish Cap. I'm playing A Link to the Past. I really want to play A Link's Awakening. I have finished one of the Oroka games. It was Seasons. I haven't finished Ages.
Wow.
But I want to at least play them all so I can rank them in my order of favorites. But yeah, I don't know why I love him so much. He, like, the series and him really did bring up my childhood. Like, people say, video games are bad for you and blah blah. To me, they're good for your soul. They really teach you life lessons, especially Final Fantasy and Zelda. Those two really had a big impact on who I am, where I'm at today, my values in life, to my friends and my family.
Yeah.
So that's really why I hold them up really high.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, because the guy I grew up with, or at least the character I grew up with, was Mario, because it's like nothing that Bowser does can stop him. It's like Mario just doesn't stop until he gets, well, either the princess or until he, gets the job done. But, he just, the fact that Mario is so resourceful, and the fact that he has quite a number of friends to help him.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I wanted to be, because I didn't want to just play the same old games all the time. Like, for example, the wrestling series. I don't know if you remember that.
Mm-hmm. I remember the one I played on the 64.
Yeah, well, I did a wrestling series on my channel for the longest time, if only because, well, that's all I could make. I thought to myself, well, I gotta really branch out and, play some other games on my channel, because otherwise who's gonna watch, really? But I kind of grew up after Mario, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see where you're going from with Link. Although I could see why you would be a fangirl, because, well, he's a big dude, he's pretty strong, and plus, he doesn't even try hard to get the women, he just gets them.
I know, but then he gets them, and then unfortunately they're like, I cannot be with you because of blah 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 blah. I'm like, he needs some love. I'll give you love. Come on over here. But poor guy.
That's exactly what I was trying to get at. You, like, I have a feeling that you would do anything to get to him. Well, almost anything.
If only he was real. That's all I can say.
Yeah, if he, like, what would you say to him if he was real? If he was real?
Oh my god. First of all, it would be really awkward because he wouldn't talk back to me. Or he wouldn't respond. He'll just be like, yeah, Sky, or whatever.
Oh my god. Oh, you know what? I just remembered something. There's actually, like, some YouTube videos of Link talking.
Yes, I think... Oh, yes! Oh, are you talking about the CDI Phillips... Oh, God, no one speaks of that. Oh, God.
No.
Okay, good.
No, some random YouTuber decided to give him a voice. Like, they gave him... Like, what they did was, they had, like, an animated version of him. I don't know how they were able to animate him. Like, how they did it, I'll never know. But... they gave him a voice. They just had a voice actor do his voice, and they just had him talk. And I'm like, wow. And one of the questions that was posed to this supposed Link was, how come you don't speak in the video games? And you want to know what the fake Link said?
Yeah.
He said, I don't know. I mean, I don't know why they don't give me a voice for some odd reason. Like, among other things. I mean, he did say something else, but it's a bit too dirty, so I'm not going to go there.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Yeah.
my God. Yeah, if he was real, no doubt you'd be dating in just like that.
I hope not. I would probably have to fight all the other girls off with a stick. I'll beat them down. But actually, I've been reading a lot lately that they should add voice acting into these new Zelda games, and in my opinion, they should not do that because it takes away, in my opinion, the storytelling. No offense to Final Fantasy X, I love that game, but once they added the voice acting, it seemed like the quality of the game went down. I'm used to reading the texts and imagining my own voices for them, and I get to imagine them the way I want to. So I
Yeah.
really hope they don't add a voice to Link because I think he's fine the way he is. Add some text or something, but no voice acting, please. We already dealt with that with the CDI. We don't want to go down that road again.
Oh, hell no.